Your home is that thing to which you can dedicate your energies with such singular devotion that the ultimate results become inconsequential.
We planned everything so well that morning. We woke up at 4:30. We'd packed everything the night before, so we had about half an hour after we woke up to go out and get the bus. There's a bus to Bristol Airport, it takes about an hour. And my alarm went off. And the moment my alarm went off, I instantly had a thought. And I leaned over to Georgia and I said, do you remember the bus only takes cash? And we both leapt out of bed immediately and started frantically hunting the boat for pound coins. Looking down the backs of cushions, pulling furniture out the way. We found about £5, which is pretty good, but not enough to get us to an airport. Luckily, I found out they have a way online where you can book a ticket, and I booked a student ticket. And my student card looks shady as all hell. So they send you two cards, International Student Identity Card. You can see that this one is valid until the 4th of July 2018. They also send you an NUS Extra Card, which is valid until the 4th of July 2020. Yeah, they both printed them not only on the same card, but one is upside down when you do it that way. I have a student card where the back expires 2 years before the front. We flew with Ryanair. I don't know if you've ever flown with Ryanair, but there's nothing they won't charge you extra for. You have to pay to sit with the other person you booked the flight with. If you want to choose where you're actually sitting, you have to pay £3 to £10, depending on how close to the front of the plane you are. You have to pay to check in on the flight. If you queue up at the airport and you get to the front of the queue, they say, cool, good to know that you're here, that's £55 please. We got toast and we added peanut butter and banana as toppings. And this is how it arrived. Like, what's the minimum we can do to serve you what you've asked for without putting any effort in? Alright, I'll spread the peanut butter and add the banana on myself. At least you sliced it. I asked for a chai latte as well. Woman behind the counter, so I went, can I have a chai latte as well please? No. And there were a few seconds there where she just didn't say anything. And I thought, why not? What have I done wrong? How do I get one? How do I fix this? And after those agonising seconds passed, she went, we don't have. No. So what is that? Don't look at fire?
I think it means if you see a fire outside, don't go outside.
I mean, yeah, I'm never leaving a plane when I'm not told to. Safety announcements are so intense and they give you no warning. It isn't any wonder that people are terrified of flying when you get on a plane and they go, okay, have your attention please. Just a few things we need to tell you about. Number one, seatbelts. You know seatbelts, just lift it up, plug it in, unpack it like that. Number two, here's what to do if the plane runs out of air. Whoa! You're familiar with those plastic masks that you see in a hospital in a war film? They're going to pop down on your face. Now, if you've got a child with you, you're no good to them dead, are you? So just put that on your face while you watch them slowly suffocate. But before they die, just secure it to your own face and then you can put it on there. Alright, Susan's going to be through with some hot refreshments in a little while and enjoy your flight. We were on seatbelts a minute ago. Georgia and I will eventually be landing in Canada. But before we get to Canada, we have a one-day stopover in Dublin where we are hanging out with Danny and Maureen. It was shitting it down with rain when we got there. The idea was we would just go to a cafe and have a catch up. I was so drenched by the time I got to the cafe that I had to do this to dry myself off. We went to this little place called Cornucopia, which seems really lovely and peaceful. They have all the stuff on their menu about like enjoying the atmosphere and no Wi-Fi. And then at the bottom, share your meal on Instagram. That's where I had my catch up with Danny. He was telling me his woes of setting up a bank account recently and how he was on the phone to them and they said, cool, well, we've sent off the confirmation email, so it should reach you. We say within a few hours, but it might take up to 2 days. Danny goes, it's an email you sent, right? And they went, yeah, so it should take up to a couple of days. The only way that will take up to 2 days is if you're sending it by a carrier pigeon and the pigeon's name is email. So Maureen is a local and she wanted to take us around the city of Dublin, and the first thing we did was go to this statue of a woman called Molly Malone. What's this woman called? Bugsy Malone? And everyone was surprised that I hadn't heard of her.
And the song's called what?
Molly Malone.
It's called Molly Malone, is it? Like Killer Queen.
You'll see how her boobs are kind of shinier, or, you know, more worn than the rest of the statue.
You'll notice that certain body parts are more buffed than others. It's supposed to be good luck to rub her boobs.
Apparently it's good luck to rub the statue's breasts. Who came up with that? That sounds like an excuse to me. It sounds like someone was caught rubbing the boobs and he went, it's good luck.
Good luck. Are you gonna go rub the boobs?
I mean, no. Why would I do that?
I can be with who you're doing if you.
I don't want to.
You don't want that on the
You don't want to. It's good luck.
I don't think it is.
It's only good luck if we all agree that we know that. If any one of these people doesn't know that and hasn't heard it, then I'm a freak. I've never been to Ireland before, and it was strange being there because it was similar enough to England to be familiar, but little bits were different. Like they had a Primark, but it wasn't called Primark, except on the labels and things it would say Primark. Pennies, we are who we are. No, you're Primark. And we spent quite a lot of time talking about the Irish alphabet. They have a letter, the letter Z. The only Irish word that uses that letter is the word zoo. They have a letter which is only used in the word zoo. If you just changed zoo to like an S, you could get rid of Z and they wouldn't feel it. It looks a bit like I hope this isn't offensive, right? I'm probably not going to put this in. He looks a bit like a cross between Gandhi and Hitler. Can you see that?
No,
Yeah.
it's actually true.
When we were on the plane to Dublin, Georgia started telling me about various Irish myths.
St. Patrick was captured on a ship and made into a slave. At some point along the way, religion saved him. Then he came back to Ireland, got rid of all the snakes. That's why there's no snakes in Ireland.
I have many questions. That's why there's no snakes in Ireland. Oh, I was going to ask. Imagine if I ended a story by going, and then we got rid of all the kangaroos. So that's why, in London, there aren't any kangaroos. Loads of places don't have snakes. Georgia was telling me these stories from memory, and her memory was a bit hazy. So I wanted to check them with Maureen, who seemed more entrenched in Irish culture. What about the other places where there aren't snakes? Didn't it mess up the ecosystem?
It might be why we have so many squirrels, but
A story about a dog and a man who became the dog. Let me just try and recount it as Georgia told it to me. Basically, a guy got into a fight with a dog. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So there was a.
This is how I remembered it.
There was a guy who happened upon a dog that was guarding someone. The man ended up killing the dog accidentally by throwing. In my head, it's a baseball. He felt so bad because the dog was guarding this other guy that he agreed to guard the guy forever. So essentially he became the dog. He was like, oh shit, I killed your guard dog. I'll just be your guard dog. And then for the rest of his life he just guarded this man. How accurate is that?
not too far off, actually.
That should be far off. That's a ridiculous story I just told you. That shouldn't be anywhere close to right.
It was this fella called Satanta. He was being brought to one of the king's feasts, and it was King Cullen. And him and his uncle were late, and on the way into the feast, the guard dog attacked. How would you describe
it's
a girl?
like a cross between hockey and baseball. It's like hockey in the
Where's
air.
baseball from?
Yeah, the ball is really like a baseball.
You're hitting it in the air.
Yeah,
Like
you throw
Quidditch.
it
Like rather than
It's like baseball,
That's what
hockey,
I
and
thought,
Quidditch.
yeah, like
That sounds
Quidditch.
sick.
He fired the schlitter at the dog, and it went straight down its throat and killed it. And
Oh shit.
the king came out and went, "That was my dog. How could you?"
And he said, you shouldn't have set it on me.
Satanta agreed to take the dog's place as his bodyguard, basically. And
God, he was a really good guy, wasn't he?
he got named basically Cú Cullen as
Yeah.
the Hound of Cullen. Apparently he was so skilled that he could throw the javelin and run fast enough to catch it before it landed.
It's pretty
He
good.
was great at everything except turning up on time to party.
Yeah. There was a bloke who was really strong. I'm picturing The Rock. I don't know what he looks like in your head. Everyone's like, oh, he's strong, and he goes and helps people out with their whenever they need strong stuff to be done. This woman comes on a horse and says, forget all that, come with me right now, who you've never met, and I'll take you to the island of eternal youth, and we'll just be together forever, and you'll never age. And he goes, yes. So they ride off together. Amazingly, she is not lying. Georgia said that he comes back from the island of eternal youth because his dad's dying, but which suggests that he's only there like a couple of decades. But you said he was there 300 years or something, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't come back because his dad's dying. He just comes back because he misses not being immortal.
Yeah, he just misses home.
Sure. She says, "All right, you can go visit, but as soon as you leave this like land, you'll be mortal again, and all of the age you would have done will like catch up with you, so you instantly just like perish. So you have to stay on this magic horse, and then you won't touch the land, because the moment you touch the land, it's like you're breaking the connection with the holy place or whatever." As he's going back to visit his dad, some people are trying to move a big rock, and they go, "Oh mate, it's the rock. He's quality. He's a legend, mate. He can help us with our big stone we need moving. Come on, mate, do you want to help us?" And he goes, "Oh, all right. I'm a bit busy actually, I've got to go see my dad." And they go, "Oh, can you help us though? It'd be really good." And he goes, "All right, I can never resist a rock." So the horse parks up, and he is trying to like lean over to move the boulder with his mighty hands without falling off the horse. And then he does fall off the horse and he just dies, and that's the end of the story. And I was like, what happened to his dad? But apparently his dad wasn't even part of it. What am I supposed to learn from that?
He was just really attractive and strong and a really good singer, and she comes to kind of visit the land of
Have you
mortals.
seen Moana? He is a good singer. What a weird day they had. That they decided they were going to move this big rock. I don't know why. Suddenly...
Everyone has pet projects.
Yeah. Suddenly, the strongest man on earth reappears after 300 years on a
shiny
horse,
white
which
horse.
I imagine is like glowing or whatever.
Probably.
Tries to help them move it without getting off the horse, which seems odd, and then collapses and just becomes dust. And you've still got your rock to deal with. The horse fucks off. Like, how are you gonna...
just explodes.
If someone asks, "What did you do today?" what do you say? What is the salmon of knowledge? Because we came in at the airport and there was a big poster and all it said was "Salmon of Knowledge."
There's this man who spends his entire life fishing to try to catch what is just the salmon of knowledge. And
How have you heard about this?
It's a fish of legend where if you eat it, you will gain all of the knowledge in the world. You will just know everything.
So it's sort of like the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's a fish.
It might be in a specific river. I have no idea how he narrowed it down. But he spends...
It's not relevant.
Yeah.
He's very good at his job.
He spends the better part of his life fishing to try to find the salmon of knowledge.
Sure.
And when he finally catches it, I don't know how he recognises it.
I was just about to ask that. I was like, how did he know?
Presumably it just looks like a
Did he
salmon.
just eat them all and then see if he knew anything else afterwards?
When he finally catches the salmon of knowledge, he gets his apprentice to cook it for him. And his apprentice has it on a little kind of slow
Why would
roast
you
and he's
leave
turning
that
it.
job to a lackey if you spent your whole life? Alright, go on. If the next bit of the story is that the apprentice fucks it up, I'm going to be really wound up. Carry on.
You might want to take a deep breath.
Oh my god, he spent his whole life doing this.
So he spent his whole life doing this, and as the
And then he
apprentice...
just got the intern to fucking make it. Alright.
As his apprentice is cooking it, he burns his thumb on the scalding hot fish and sucks his thumb because it hurts. And
Okay.
gains all of the knowledge from that. So it renders it to be just a fish.
He's consumed
He's
some part of it,
consumed
even like
part
the,
of it,
a bit
yeah.
of the juice or scales or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it was.
And now the fish is just inert. It's just a
Yeah,
salmon.
the fish is just a fish and he just has all the knowledge in the world. To his credit, the fella that he's an apprentice for basically went, right, well fair enough, I guess, go teach people things. Go make good use of your knowledge.
That's very humble of him. What, like, so he's just, my
Yeah.
whole life was a waste of time. Well, off you go. Dedicate
You've
his
seen
whole life
Infinity
to
War,
it.
right?
Yeah, but that's only part one. There's no part two to the salmon of knowledge. He gets his salmon.
Yeah.
He's gone for it his whole life. I'm gonna get all the knowledge. Oh no, I'm not. Then the credits roll. What
Yeah.
sort of story is that? Well, thanks for that, mate.
yummy.
It looks yummy, did you say?
Like it, raspberry cola sounds yummy.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Alright, well, let's find out.
Okay.
Let's go!
It's beautiful.
This is Georgia in the car. This is Sarah, she's driving the car. Look at the road! Canada was very different from Ireland. Sarah was trying to explain to us. She went, have you ever had a s'more? And I said, no. And she went, oh, okay. Have you ever had a graham cracker? I don't know what those things are. She's like, oh, okay. Do you know what a golden bear is? What are you talking about? I met Sarah 3 years ago. She messaged me on Facebook saying that she was going travelling around Europe. And I said, that sounds really fun. I would love to do something like that. And she was like, well, you can come if you want. I'm just going on my own. I kind of figured she didn't really mean that because she didn't really know me. And she'd planned this whole trip on her own and didn't want to crash the party. She figured that I didn't really mean it because why would I just go on a random trip for 2 months? And after several months of mutual reassurance, we realised we both were genuine. And so we travelled around Europe together in the summer of 2015.
We are in Cardiff right now. We are at a science museum. We are in Lisbon. I'm about to go paragliding.
I've never been to return the favour to go to where she lives, so I thought it was about time. She lives in this beautiful part of Canada called Vancouver Island in this town called Victoria. On the first day we were there, she took us to this beach. It's autumn, right? So it's beautiful orange leaves, and we found these purple shells, and we're just like walking around enjoying the beauty of the scenery. And then I found out that they had a treetop adventure climbing place, because what's better than just looking at the trees, zip lining through them. So they had 4 courses, and the first 3 were all pretty much the same level. You're like harnessed in, and you climb through all these different obstacles. Bye. And then the 4th one was like a extreme course. Neither Sarah nor Georgia wanted to attempt that one, so I sadly did it alone with various... Sarah took the camera and she has various shots where she just narrates being worried for me.
That's horrifying. Oh fuck, oh fuck. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god.
We had to go shopping because we were mainly cooking from home at Sarah's, and I found these, right? And I object to the fact that Disney are selling meat fun for kids, because, you know, I'm vegan and so I object to that. But actually what I object to more is the fact that you're putting frozen merchandise on food that isn't frozen. Make a ready meal or something, don't put it on a can.
Do a tally of how many of my jokes you've got the other day.
Alright. We were trying to introduce Sarah to some cool recipes that we make at home. So Georgia made her tofu scramble, and I made we found this purple cauliflower, and I made cauliflower mash and mixed it with coconut milk, and doesn't it look like paint? It was so weird, but it was like super yummy. We were staying at Sarah's grandma's house, and I really loved that she had a photo of her cat in the frame. Like, usually you take a photo to like capture a memory. It was the picture you'd put on a missing cat poster, and she had it framed. Then we went to downtown Victoria. There was this beautiful alley with all these like, kind of like hanging lanterns and lights. We ate Chinese food in this vegetarian buffet place, which was really cool.
I ordered enough for a family of 4.
We played, so Danny and I are developing a version of our card game Sopio, which is called Sopio Legacy. So we needed to play test it, so we spent quite a lot of the trip just playing Sopio.
In case I'm in the shot, I'm making a really good face.
I liked it, yeah. Oh, at the end of your turn, I'm going to play Misdirection, which puts me on 850 as well. Oh, fuck. Squish, what are you up to?
Reboot.
Oh!
Points piles.
No!
Play your last pathetic card.
I can take 2 cards from any opponent's points pile, play 1, and discard the other.
Oh, well that's it then, isn't it?
So I'm going to take that one.
Yep.
And I will discard that one.
Oh, so I don't even get to upgrade anything.
1,250.
Hold on.
Jesus!
We played some Magic as well.
I'm going to chant your creature. It gets +2/+2, has vigilance, and can't attack or block.
Hello, dear. Oh.
Hello.
Hello, you alright?
I love you.
I love you too. To what do I owe this pleasure?
I'm just having a break from my boring study to make spaghetti.
Oh, cool. Oh.
Oh, hello.
There are a lot of shots in this video of like lovely walks that we went on, because that's a lot of what we did. But there was one time where Sarah took us through this forest, and feel free to just interject on this as you hear me retell it.
Sure.
As we walked into the forest, she just casually went, oh, by the way, there might be cougars So if you see one, we just have to stand next to each other and look really big, and then they probably won't attack us.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun knowing that after we were already in the forest.
I spent the rest of that walk just like tiptoeing, worried I was about to get pounced on by a predator. I don't want to be on my own in this cougar forest.
You got the little cheese house.
Yeah, I think it's cute.
Great. What does a cougar look like? Wasn't that the place where she took us to see where they filmed the X-Men? It was like the mansion that is the X-Men mansion when they do X-Men movies. Oh, and they had this burger there, not in the forest, in this fish and chip place. So, how does it taste to you then?
It tastes like pork.
I don't know if my mouth can handle all of that.
Yeah, fair enough. I see what you mean.
Yeah?
How much would you give it out of 6?
Out of 6?
Yeah. 4 out of 6?
5?
5 out of 6.
Why is it out of 6?
Just answer the question. Like, what? Did I have a burger on my nose?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, how long have you been looking for a vegan soft serve?
4 years. I've been vegan for 4 years, and I always thought it was easy to make. We found a place a couple of days ago that had one, but then the cone
Yeah.
seems like the easy part.
Yeah.
But this place, this incredible place, yeah.
It's a dream come true.
Oh man, it's so good. It's really, really good. Have some. Yeah.
Just like a 99.
What else did we do? Sarah took us to this rock mineral place. They sell rocks.
I quite like these sparkly blue ones.
Do you want to hold it up? Get a little victory picture with you?
What this?
You know the chart there.
Which stone is that? They're all going to fall off, aren't they?
Sarah's boyfriend Evan is really into cars. He works as a mechanic. He plays this driving simulator game. We spent quite a bit of time just hanging out with what she calls the boys. He had this really nice poncho type thing on that looked super comfy. We went to a board game cafe in downtown. We ate vegan pizza together and we went for a walk on the beach. Oh, and it was raining when we came out of the board game cafe, and so he was trying to slide along the pavement. Where did you get that?
I just found it on the side of the road here. Looks good.
You look so proud.
The day after you guys left, I sliced it up and made some for the boys and me, and it was like, it was not great.
Oh, and he drove us to, there was this place that had like a TARDIS that they'd constructed in their front lawn. Sarah ran and touched it like a naughty schoolgirl.
Second one I've done that with.
Not the first TARDIS that she's touched.
We are in Cardiff right now, and we're just walking around. Came upon a set where they are filming Doctor Who.
And then the actual Doctor, Peter Capaldi, just walked around and waved at us. When they all finished filming and they drove the cast off, all the crew were just kind of packing stuff up. And they had the TARDIS on the floor, or the ground, on the grass, on this park. And it was just in bits because they'd collapsed it, ready to like put in a van. Like if you bought the TARDIS from IKEA, and Sarah went and did exactly the same thing, like went and touched it and then ran away. The crew didn't care at all. I was like, if that was London, you'd get like pinned down and probably arrested for terrorism. So yeah, it's her second TARDIS touch. Another thing I found out was when we first told Sarah we were going to live on a narrowboat, they have a community of houseboats in Victoria, and they look like this. I mean, those aren't houseboats, those are boat houses. That's what she thought we were going to move on to. Essentially, like a building just on water, which is not what I'm in. We went for a walk down this pier, and it was so windy, and the water was like crashing, going everywhere. And then we turned around and there was a huge cruise ship that was just coming in. Sarah's mum bought Georgia these like earrings that had been made by a friend of hers out of recycled car tyre material. Oh, bike tyre material, sorry. Probably my favourite part of the trip though was the hockey game. So Georgia used to follow ice hockey a lot when she was at uni.
Sorry for the noise.
Whatever. She said to Sarah, can we go to an ice hockey game? Like, I don't care if it's a local game, like, I don't want to go see the NHL, like, just any game. And I was, you know, going along for the trip because I thought it would be a fun experience, but I didn't think I'd be that into it. Show me.
These are all things you found foraging on the streets of Canada.
It was the best thing we did because in North America, they treat the audience at a sports event like they're on ADD. As soon as anything happened, they would be playing music. There'd be like competitions, like a ba-da-da would flash up on the sign, or a spotlight would come down, and they'd be just playing this random game.
What do you say to that? Decaf. It says decaf, let's find out. There it is. Tim Hortons, thanks for playing.
I love how every time the crowd starts booing and getting restless, they're like, one lucky fan is gonna win a free pizza! Like, just like trying to play music and distract everybody.
Fans, check out the Jumbotron for the insurance goal of the game from last night, scored by Dino Cambites. Brought to you by a local insurance broker.
What did he say? Another blue seafood crab house penalty kill.
Another cash donation to the Mustard Seed Food Bank on behalf of Cal Tire.
In the intermission, a bunch of kids came out and they had like a kids game.
The judge is a bear!
The mascot was not a bear, it was a marmot. My apologies to the people of Canada. Georgia went to the bathroom, and at the moment she left, they were like, okay, it's time for the tricycle race. I'm like, what? There were these like red, blue and green tricycles, and these three guys came out and they had to ride around this obstacle course on the rink, and they were on ice, so it was so terrible.
Get set and go!
After the tricycle race, everyone was like, cool, everyone's got their puck, you have 60 seconds, go! And then everyone just started throwing pucks into the center of the arena, and there was like a target in the center of the thing, and if you got your puck on the target, you like won a prize. I had no idea what was going on. It's like when you're in church and everyone starts singing a hymn, you know, when you're in church, and you're just trying to figure out the melody and the words sort of as you go along. It was like that. I loved how the guy in goal looks like he's a transformer. I loved how they sent someone out in intermission to clean the rink. As they sent him out, they went, a big hand for Harry, he's 7 today. There was just some random kid just waving like the Queen on the back of the machine. It's not like football, where every like 30 minutes-ish, they substitute one player. The whole team are just like jumping on and off the court all the time. Like every 30 seconds, they're just piling on and off. We went to the Victoria Royals game, and it was their home stadium, so everyone there was a supporter of Victoria Royals. When they scored, everyone went crazy. The only exception was this guy, who was the only person there supporting the other team. So he had that crank thing, he had a drum that he just brought with him, and he would just do that every now and then. At one point, right when I walked past him, so that was great. Thanks, mate. They just pointed the camera at random people in the crowd and went, it's smile cam, which is just like social pressure for people that might be going through a hard time. Look happy. At one point, a guy walked out with a giant credit card and went, everyone wave your loyalty card and we'll pick a random winner. Sarah got well into it. They had the fish and chips game where they randomly just pulled someone out of the crowd and went, you win a $20 gift certificate for the local fish and chip place.
Fans, if you think you know what he's got on the line, help him out.
My favourite bit was the Doritos crunch of the game.
That's a solid choice. Yeah, wasn't it like someone smacked against the wall?
It was like, yeah, someone kind of fouled someone else and they like knocked them into the boards, and then they later got into a fight, these two players, and while they were fighting they were just like, it's the Doritos crunch of the game, and they like replayed him like smashing into the boards, and then they just threw Doritos into the crowd and the We Love Royals boards.
Yeah, they had to unscramble the letters to spell out We Heart Royals in a certain time, and then if they did that, they won like a gift certificate for the merch store. It was a really fun trip. We flew home from Victoria to Vancouver in this tiny twin propeller engine plane. We watched the sunrise over Canada as we flew home. We sat on a layover back in Dublin, bleary-eyed, watching The Office, and
I was at this coffee shop and they had
now we've got to plan the next trip.
Oh. But it wasn't, I didn't think it was that nice.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
Like, I really like jellyfish, and like they were just like going in a circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just because the jets were moving that way, and it was really good to see them.